Greetings comic book fans and welcome to the Dude Cave. I'm Jason and these are my comic book reviews for the second week of October 2015. This week we have 14 books to review, so without further ado, let's get to those reviews. So first up this week for review of the books from Marvel, I have 4 books this week to review. First up we have the last issue of A-Force. This is the Secret Wars book. It's going to be relaunched in December, as it tells you at the back of the book, so it's going to be an ongoing in December, but this is the Secret Wars version. And one thing I'm finding with the Secret Wars books is that they are ending quite flat, and the thing that really surprises me is that they're not tying into the main series. I thought, yeah, these are all going to be standalone stories, but I thought at the end that each kind of part of Battleworld would learn what's going on with Doom, and maybe everybody kind of goes off to war and it goes, oh, see what happens next in Secret Wars issue 8 or something like that. But they don't, and that they don't feel connected to Secret Wars at all, really. So yeah, and again, it does end a bit flat. I like the kind of bit at the end where it kind of teases how this could carry on when the Marvel Universe gets repaired, but it still felt, for me at least, a bit flat. Most of the issues one big fight scene as A-Force are fighting off all these. The shield has been broken, which is this wall that keeps out all these zombies and monsters and the undead and stuff, and Ultrons, and that wall's been broken, so they're all coming in to this place, Arcadia. So She-Hulk and her team A-Force have to defend it, but then they get back up. What I didn't like was that we got a lot of, it was one big fight scene, but what I didn't like was that we got characters we haven't really been seeing in this book, and they just randomly turn up in this issue as we have this kind of big montage fight scene, which on the one hand, yeah, it kind of shows the scope of this battle, that it's bigger than A-Force, but at the same time, you kind of, all these characters that don't really matter because you've not been following their story. You want to follow these core characters whose story you've been following. You want more of them than these other characters to get a random panel. The Gamora 4 outfit is ridiculous, and I'm surprised that in the 21st century we're still having shit like this. She's the Green Woman there. Now, I love a naked Green Woman as much as the Next Man. But come on, she's a 4. She's like a police officer. God, even a stripper police officer wears more than that. It's just ridiculous. And so often you hear people kind of putting down people that go to cosplay and wear skimpy outfits. But like, if you're designing the outfits to be so skimpy, it's just a ridiculous outfit. And I just, you know, like I say, you know, I love a naked green chick as much as the Next Man, but come on, she's supposed to be, you know, an authority figure. She wouldn't be dressed like that. So that annoyed me. Overall, though, I did like the art. I thought there were some very good moments in here, and overall the art was really good. It's just that one thing I can let it down. I like we get to find out that mysterious skill, that her name's Singularity, but I did it was a bit of a cop-out, her kind of saving the day. Because she's done that a few times through the story, and it just feels like for that to keep happening. I don't like characters that are too powerful, unless they're the villain and you've got to find a way to defeat them. But when they're the hero, because it's like always, oh yeah, we're in over our heads. Where's the suspense? You know Singularity is going to save the day by doing something magical or otherworldly. So like, why do you need to get kind of stressed over what's happening? Why is anything going to have any kind of emotional resonance when you always know if Singularity's there, she's going to save the day? I did, however, find the team interesting. I was ashamed we didn't see more of the team this issue because so many other characters are getting cameos. That would have been nice. So I think this was a really interesting mix for a team. It does wrap everything up well, but it did leave me kind of feeling a bit flat. So I'm going to give A-Force issue number 5 3 stars out of 5. So next up we have Captain America White issue number 3, where I didn't realise till I got to my comic shop that this was coming out, but I'm really glad it was out because I really enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying the fun feel of the book. The art by Tim Sale is fantastic and it's really nicely coloured. I gotta check, I don't know if Tim Sale's doing it all. No, we have Dave Stewart is on colours because it is really nicely coloured as well. I like the kind of whole thing of having Steve Rogers back as Captain America, and it's World War II Cap, so I really like the kind of where like we meet this woman, this agent called the Gypsy, and kind of Bucky's going to him, she likes you, and he goes, she hates me. She goes, women are always like that when they like it. And I like the interplay between Bucky and Cap, and that Bucky's having to give Cap women's advice because Cap doesn't really understand women. He's kind of too straight and narrow. So I like that. I'm loving seeing vintage Nick Fury. It's just fantastic. And it's such a shame we haven't got him in the modern Marvel universe because he's such a great character, and here he is brilliant. There's a great scene with the eye patch because yet he doesn't wear the eye patch yet. So there's a really great scene with the eye patch that made me chuckle. All of this is a really great series, a lot of fun, and it's giving me everything I want from Captain America. So I'm going to give Captain America White issue number 3 5 stars out of 5. So now we're going to go to Galaxy Far Far Away, and it's Star Wars Chewbacca issue number 1. I thought this was a solid start to the series. I really liked how Chewbacca was written. I think they did a really great job writing the character and making sure, even though he doesn't have no dialogue, that he's got a character and a personality. I like there's kind of a Phantom Menace feel to the thing where Chewbacca lands on this planet and he needs this part, but he's not got the money, so he has to go out and earn. But unlike Qui-Gon in Phantom Menace, Chewbacca's a bit more street smart, and he knows, and he gets a nice hot meal, and he earns enough money from playing Sarback, I think it was called, and to get his part. Throw into this story, we have this character called Zaro, and Zaro's father owes money to these bad people, and they both end up working in this mine. Zara's father gets Zara out of there, but then Zara's going around trying to get people to help. And Zara goes from being a really sympathetic character to being really annoying. And because the character is so annoying, even though like they're in a bad situation, but the character is so annoying, you can't, it just kills any kind of sympathy you have for this character. And you're hoping they get captured because they're just so annoying, and it will stop the annoyingness. So I felt that hurt the book, because that's the kind of bit where you're supposed to really care and it pulls on your heartstrings, but it doesn't, because the character's so annoying it overrides anything else that they're trying to get out of you. The story is a bit unspectacular. I enjoyed the Chewbacca stuff, but it feels very much like we've seen this story a million times before, and a lot of times a lot better. So it was disappointing in that respect, but I thought there were positives. The art in here by Phil Noto is gorgeous. So it wasn't a bad comic. It just isn't a comic that kind of makes you eager to get the rest of the series. You kind of are like, I could live not reading the rest of this, unless I know that something really bad's going to happen to Zara, and that sounds evil, but the character was very annoying. I'm going to give Star Wars Chewbacca issue number 1 3 stars out of 5. I would be getting the rest of that series just because it's Star Wars, but if I was somebody who wasn't just getting all the Star Wars books, that is definitely a book I would have second thoughts about getting the next issue of. Not a good start at all for it, really. We then have Star Wars Shattered Empire issue number 4, is it? No, 3. Issue number 3. I believe this is the penultimate issue of the series, which, that's been really quick. Going into this series, it was not what I expected, but also the speed of the story. I thought we were going to have a more long-term story, but it seems to all be centered around like just a few months after Jedi, and it seems it's not going to go much further than that. There's some nice cameos here from characters we know, which is really cool. I felt this was the issue I'd enjoyed the most so far in the run. There's a really nice moment that kind of cries back to Phantom Menace, where Leia is in the hangar bay, where Darth Maul come through that door, where the Duel of the Fates start playing, and Darth Maul standing there, and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan Kenobi say, we can deal with this, and they take their robes off and get their lightsabers out, and then Darth Maul starts up his lightsaber. That is, for me, that one scene was worth Phantom Menace by itself. I know Phantom Menace isn't regarded as a very good movie, but just that one scene was worth the whole movie. That was a really good scene, and I like the callback to it in here. That's really cool. Like I say, I'm enjoying the story. I'm not completely sure where it's going, but there's part of me that's really enjoying that, not knowing where it's going, not having no clue of how this could lay out. I'm really enjoying that, and yeah, like I say, this was the issue I enjoyed the most of this series so far. Plenty of action, stories moving nicely, we get some few nice cameos, good stuff. I'm going to give Star Wars Shattered Empire issue number 3 5 stars out of 5. So those are my Marvel books. Next up, we're going to go and review the books from the Indies. So next up, the Indies. Well, I say Indies, but all we got this week are 3 books from Valiant. So really, when I say Indies, I mean Valiant. So kicking things off first with X-O Manowar, issue number 41. This is part 3 of Exodus. This has been a fantastic story. We have these aliens called the Vine, who, this armor that X-O Manowar wears, it's this religious kind of thing for this race, the Vine. They worship Shahara, the name of this armor. They worship it, and so when their planet got destroyed, they've all come to Earth now to be close to this armor that they see as like a real religious artifact. Earth, of course, having all these alien refugees suddenly turn up, are a bit freaking out. But also you've got, like, before there was this story of the Armor Hunters, which was, I think, Earth's kind of first contact with the aliens, and it didn't go good as they tried to destroy the Earth. And I think the Vine have attacked in the past as well. I haven't read the whole run of X-O Manowar, so I'm not 100% clear on all these stories. All I know for certain is that Earth has had contact with aliens before and it's not been good. So people are nervous. There's a lot of people who are angry at the Vine, and kind of there's hatred on both sides. And Arik, X-O Manowar, is trying to kind of get peace so they can reach some kind of settlement so that both races can live together and avoid war. But you've got people in the shadows. You've got this guy called Commander Thrill, who is left over from the last time the Vine attacked, and he has these kind of saplings, and they're people that were part Vine, that were hidden on Earth, and have kind of over the years, they're kind of part Vine, part human, but their loyalty is all to the Vine, and they're kind of trying to get power and kind of destabilize situations. And in this situation, we've got one of them who is on the Earth team, the human team, that is kind of opposite the Vine, and so they're using him to kind of cause all kinds of trouble. I really enjoyed this issue. It was really good. It went very close to being my pick of the week because I enjoyed it so much. The art to the book is just beautiful. The story is fantastic. So many twists and turns, and just things seem to be getting worse all the time. And Arik is trying to hold on, but you kind of almost feel it's futile because it seems inevitable with all these different forces working in the background that war is going to happen, and it's a real Herculean effort that Arik is going by to try and get these two sides to just sit down and talk peace. But even when they get to sit down, things go wrong because of all these other people kind of interfering in it. Just how much they cram into this is brilliant. The story is fast-paced, action-packed, really great stuff. Really recommend this book because like this story has just been fantastic. X-O Manowar issue number 41 gets a definite 5 stars out of 5 from me. So next up, and we have from Valiant, we have Ninjak issue number 8. This continues the story called Shadow Wars. Ninjak has infiltrated this organization called Weaponeer, but the leaders of Weaponeer are all hidden. So he's he's infiltrated the group and he's trying to locate the different leaders one by one. This issue we meet Fritz, and he's not what we thought he was. He's kind of like got his own agenda from within Weaponeer, and he's kind of taking out the bad guys. So it seems like he and Ninjak are on the same side. With that being said, I didn't understand why Ninjak then knocks him out and takes him to like the organization he works for. I think it's MI6 or something like that. I think he works for. So I didn't quite understand that because they seem to be on the same side. I liked again that we get his backstory, but that does take up the majority of the issue, and so we don't get much else in the main part of the book other than Fritz's backstory, which is really cool. But again, you know, straight away he gets captured. We've missed the fight. The story takes place after he and Ninjak have had this epic fight, so we don't get to see that. And we get all this backstory, and he then gets captured, and you kind of like, well, you've spent a whole issue building this guy up, and then he's gone after one issue, and I kind of worry about that. I know I do like that Valiant tried to get to the point quicker than maybe Marvel and DC who drag things out, but at the same time, it kind of feels we could have had like 2 issues with each character. One issue where we get the backstory, and one issue where we get Ninjak going after them, now understanding who they are. So that, I think that probably, I personally would have liked to have seen that more. but you can't really complain when they're trying to give you as much story as they can each issue. But it just seems a lot of effort with not much reward for Valiant. The art is, again, this is another book that has great art, and there's a great scene in the main story with Ninjak and his mother that I really enjoyed, because it's the first time we've really got to see young Ninjak with his mother and their relationship, so that was really interesting. And there's some kind of interesting dialogue that comes out of that. The Lost Files bit that's in the back that kind of shows Ninjak in his earlier days when he was just starting out and how he becomes Ninjak, that's really kind of right now is the best it's been, as it's really kind of tying into the main story, and that these characters we're meeting now, Ninjak has ties to them already. So I'm really enjoying this book right now. Even though I didn't feel this issue was as great as the previous issues, I still really enjoyed it, and I'm going to Ninjak number 8, 4 stars out of 5. So our final indie book, or Valiant book, it is Unity, issue number 23. This kicks off a new story arc, if you can see that there, called Revenge of the Armor Hunters. So yeah, we had this group, the Armor Hunters, came to Earth to take out Manowar, but also to destroy the planet, because they see the armor as an infection, and anything that's interacting with that infection they want to take out. So they want to take down, Earth. So Unity managed to defeat them, but now they didn't get all of them, and now that's all coming back on them. The issue throws you straight into the action, but at no point are you wondering, well, I don't get what's happening. It fully brings you to speed as the story's going on, and it's a very kind of organic experience as you're catching up and the story's still moving forward. So I really liked how they accomplished that. I liked the interactions between Eternal Warrior, Ninjak and Livewire. I thought that was really good. I liked the whole spirit of the book of you don't know who you can trust, as it looks at one point that Ginger has gone rogue again. So you kind of thinking, oh my life, this has been all one big lie. And then you kind of get reveals that kind of explain things a bit more. That's really cool. Yeah, all in all, this is just really great stuff. I can't say enough good things about it. Really good story. I like that X amount of war is there. The action is just, everything's just epic. And you just spend no time setting stuff up. It's just straight into it. Great stuff. I'm going to give Unity issue number 23 5 stars out of 5. So those are my indie books for this week. Next up, the final batch of books, and it's DC Comics. So next up we have 6 DC books. As you may notice, we're kicking things off with a book that's a few months old. It's We Are Robin, issue number 1. I really like that cover. I think that cover looks really cool. I think DC do some really nice covers. This book's, like I say, a few months. I think we're up to issue 5 comes out this month, but this is a book I'm just jumping on. It was recommended to me by one of the staff in my comic shop, and I hadn't really looked at it initially. The premise, what I knew of it, didn't really grab me, but the person who recommended it, they've never steered me wrong, so I thought I'd give it a go. Managed to get this off a website called A Place in Space. They have an eBay kind of shop. I get a lot of my comics from there. They have really good service, and the books arrive well packaged and quickly. So I got this off there. I was surprised it's a $3.99 book. I didn't realise We Are Robin was a $3.99 book. I thought that was a $2.99. I thought it's a type of book that would be $2.99, but obviously not. So yeah, the story kicks off. We introduced this character, Duke Thomas, and I liked him. He was a cool character. He was relatable. You kind of took to him, a very likable character. He could take care of himself, but at the same time, he's not like superhero kind of quick. So I liked him. He was a nice kind of character to bring you into the book. He talks about that he was involved in Endgame, and this is the second book this week I read that kind of references Endgame and kind of makes me realise I need to go back and reread that story, because there's so much of that I just don't remember. I really need to go and refresh my mind, because I did not remember this character from that book, but so I need to go and reread that. I like the mystery here. Like I said, the main character is the guy we're following, as he's kind of he got separated from his family. His family are missing after Endgame. They may be dead. They may have just become around from the effects of Joker's stuff. So he doesn't know where they are. Nobody's looking for them. He's frustrated. He's been moved from foster home to foster home, school to school, always getting in trouble because he's just really want to get his parents. They put him with this crappy foster family that it does not look a good situation that they put him into. So he goes out the window, but there's this group that are following him, and he goes underground and he finds something underground. And yeah, I like the book. Like I said, I think it really helped a lot that the main character is so likable, but also I like in the mystery. There's a shadowy figure that's in charge of things that we don't know nothing about. We've got this gang that have all got these like kind of Robin tops on with the R. So yeah, it's a real. I like in the mystery. I'm liking the main character, and I thought this was a really good first issue that does enough to make me want to come back next issue. It doesn't blow me away, but it does enough to make me to find out what's happening here. So I'm gonna give We Are Robin issue number 1 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have from this week we have Superman, Lois and Clark issue number 1. This was not what I was expecting. I thought that we were going to follow the Superman, Lois Lane, bringing up their son from another universe, from the original, like not original, but from the DC universe that people had been following before the New 52. So I thought that was what we were going to get, and instead what we get Lois, Clark, and their child are in the New 52, and they know that there's another Superman. So Clark decides to stay in the shadows, and what he does instead is they live an ordinary life, but that Clark is tracking all the different people that raised up to be villains that he had to fight, and he's trying to stop the accidents that give them their powers or causes the situations so that they don't become villains. You know, he's using his knowledge of what happened in his world to kind of try and stop things like that happening in this world. This issue, he's going to stop Hank Henshaw, who became Cyborg Superman, and he's trying to stop the accident that transformed him into Cyborg Superman. So I'm liking that as a premise. I really like that. I think that's an interesting premise, and I like that. One thing that did annoy me is we've got a depowered Superman again. It seems nobody at DC can write Superman anymore. It has to be depowered, otherwise we can't write him, you know. And I think that's bullshit. I think if you're a good, talented writer, you can have a fully charged up Superman, and you can still make the story interesting. You can still make the character relatable. So yeah, it does annoy me that we just seem to be in this mode at the moment where you can't have Superman fully powered because people won't relate to him. That's bullshit. If you're a good writer, you'll find a way. I think the book does a really good job of bringing you up to speed on the story, filling you in while still being interested and still feeling like it's moving forward. I really enjoyed this once I got over it, that it wasn't what I was expecting. Not perfect, but a good start, and I give Superman, Lois and Clark issue number 1 4 stars out of 5. We then have Constantine, the Hellblazer, issue number 5, and this book, I was kind of a couple of months ago thinking of dropping this, and then I decided to stick with it because I really enjoyed the last issue. But now I'm kind of in that mode of I might drop this. It's not that it's a bad book, it's just I feel it's a book that we will read better collected. This is a dark end to the story, but it feels appropriately dark because it didn't really feel like there was going to be another way out for Constantine in this. He kind of is a bit of a jerk and manipulates of somebody else into doing what needs to be done. And he kind of, that's the thing I always find interesting about the character. He ultimately does what's right, but his way of getting there sometimes, he doesn't make him the most likable person in the DC universe. I love the art. Riley Rossmo, this really fits well with the mood of this book. But like I say, I think overall, I think this first story will read better if you're reading it as one lump rather than individual issues. And I'm certainly, for the future, I'm definitely considering kind of going back, because it wraps things up nicely, but it wasn't a real spectacular finish. And the thing that really helped this book for me was the art, because I just love the art so much. So I'm going to give Constantine Hellblazer issue number 5 3 stars out of 5, and I may be jumping to trade on that one. I haven't fully decided yet. Next up we have Batman Superman issue number 25, and I just don't even know why this book exists anymore, because Batman, the Bat Gordon, and the outed Superman don't like each other. They have no relationship. Batman's basically get out of Gotham, I don't want you here. And so Clark gets out of there, and they just can't stand each other, which makes the whole thing of what happened in Detective Comics even the more frustrating, because we've seen here they can't stand each other, yet he's geeking out because it's Superman and the Justice League. And it's kind of like, well, no, he'd be like, what's this jerk doing here? I told you to get out my city. So it's just not adding up. I just don't, that's just not adding up. And I don't, because the characters dislike each other so much, I just don't even understand why they've still got this book. They could just relaunch this as a Superman team-up book. And each story arc, he teams up with somebody different to do the mission. I think that would have been much more interesting than this, because we get no Bat Gordon. We get a bit of him at the beginning, and then the rest of the issue is all Superman, you know, as he's going after Vandal Savage. He's depowered, so we can't take him, and then some of the members of the Bat family turn up to kind of help him save the day. I liked the team up in here, and that was really good. I enjoyed the art as well, which was a real surprise because the art is good. The inner monologue of Clark is really good, and I think adds a lot to the book. But yeah, I have this overriding thing of why does this book exist? Because it's not Batman Superman anymore, and the relationship that Bruce and Clark had that was so interesting, that's not here anymore. So I don't understand why we're still pursuing this. Why they didn't just relaunch it as like kind of another Superman book or Superman team-up book. But I'm going to give Batman Superman issue number 25. Because there was still, even though I don't understand why it's going on, I think there was still a lot of good. It was a good team up. I loved the showdown with Savage, some great inner monologue, and I loved the Bat family turning up. So, and the art was really good. So all in all, it was a good book, even though I question its existence. So I'm going to give Batman Superman issue number 25, 4 stars out of 5. So next, our penultimate book is Batman issue number 45. I'm just not feeling this story right now. There's so many elements I'm just not feeling. I don't think Bat Gordon has been given a proper chance. He's still in Bruce Wayne's shadow. Bruce Wayne, even though he's not a superhero anymore, is still getting a big chunk of the book. So it doesn't feel like we've ever had time for him. I did really like kind of like the inner monologue with Gordon, where he's talking about how he's not used to fighting alone, that he's used to always having backup. In like the army, in like the being part of the Gotham Police Department, that he's always got colleagues there to back him up, and now he's kind of fighting these bad guys by himself, and he's kind of getting used to that. So I did like that, and that kind of helped make things make more sense and make the character more human, which I thought was a good thing to do. The art is always great in this book, and whenever the book is ever weak, the art always saves it because it's just so consistent. I didn't like Robot Batman. It kind of like, why do we need Gordon if the suit can do things on its own and it doesn't need Gordon? I'm like, why can't they just control the suit from a spaceship or something? And you know, so I didn't like the Robot Batman thing. I didn't like that at all. Again, this issue kind of brings up some points from Endgame that I didn't remember, really highlighting that I do need to go back and reread that series. This issue does end on a high note, and it looks like the way the story's going to go. Gordon's got fired as Batman, but that he's going to, by saving like this person who makes the decisions, by saving her and taking out Bloom, he's going to show that he's worthy of being Batman. You can kind of see that's going that way. One thing I would like to see, if they're going to persevere with Gordon and give him a proper chance, I'd like to see maybe have his own rogues, like have occasional appearance from other rogues, but build up his own catalogue of villains. I think that would be really cool and give the book a different feel under Gordon. I think that would be good. But overall, I was a bit disappointed with this, but I think part of it as well is I'm just not feeling this story. So I'm going to give Batman issue number 45, because it wasn't all bad. There was some good in there. I'm going to give it 3 stars out of 5. So our final book this week, it is Batman and Robin Eternal issue number 2. This was really good, not as good as the first issue. It didn't rock my socks off, but it was still good. We've not got answers yet, but it's like they're unwinding the story nicely. I'm surprised how quickly our main characters have come together, which is a good thing, because no wasted motion, but I was surprised how quickly, and I like what brings them together. It feels quite organic. And when you get that many characters coming together, it can feel a bit convoluted, but I think they did a good job here. I'm liking the flashbacks to Dick Grayson as Robin and him and Bruce, various different missions they had in the past. I'm really liking that. But that's another thing, there's a lot of dick in this book, and there seems to be in a lot of DC books a lot of dick at the moment. And yeah, I like Grayson as much as the next guy, and I'm really enjoying his character at the moment. So I'm enjoying that, but it does feel like he's supposed to be dead. He's supposed to be a secret. He's supposed to be a secret agent. How can you be a secret agent if you're seeing everybody seeing you and you turn up in like loads of books? I don't quite get that, even though I'm really glad they're doing more with his character, because he is a really likeable character, and that's a good thing. And it kind of makes you wonder, if they wanted to make his character a bigger deal, why didn't they have him be Batman again? It would have made sense. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. Overall, I'm enjoying this right now, and I think it's been a good start to the series. And I'm going to give Batman and Robin Eternal issue number 2 4 stars out of 5. So that leaves next bit of business. It's pick of the week. So, pick of the week for the second week of October 2015 is Miss Marvel issue number 19. This was just exceptional. This would bring a tear to a glass eye. It's just a totally character-based issue. I don't think she, at any point in this, is she a superhero. It's her dealing with her real life on what could be the last day and of the world, of the universe, and she kind of dealing with all these character stuff. There's the great scene with her mom, who knows that she's Miss Marvel, and so that was really great, a great moment, and I really enjoyed that, and that was a heartwarming moment. Then there's a great interaction with Zoe and Nakia, and kind of catching up with those two characters, and those scenes were really great. Then there's this great scene with kind of all the people that have come together, and a great big dance scene breaks out. And then we end the issue with just a heartbreaking scene between Kamala and Bruno, as it kindly comes to a head, his love for her, and the elephant in the room is finally addressed, and it's such a great scene that just does not go the way you hoped it would. And I just bloody love this book. I think part of me, I'm invested in it a bit more, because I was kind of like Bruno's character. My wife is Indian, she's Sikh, she's not Muslim, but and the family in this are Muslim. But like, even though she's not Muslim, her family, they still have kind of expectations and traditions. And when we first got together, there was the whole thing of, would they accept her going out with a white guy? Would my family accept me going out with an Indian girl? And then there was like kind of the whole culture and everything that we had to overcome in the early days. So that kind of makes me really relate to this book that little bit more. But even taking all of that out of it, it's just a fantastic story, and the character is just such a nice character, and you really feel for her, and all these things that have been built up over 19 issues that just don't involve her being a superhero. It involves her life, and that's how well this book is written, how well it's done, that you care about all these things rather than, oh, she's not being a superhero, I don't want to read this bit. So yeah, this was just an exceptional end. They're going to relaunch it, I believe, later in the year. Well, we haven't got much of the year left, but I think it's been relaunched before the end of the year. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and just a fantastic series this has been. Definitely one worth checking out in trade, and I give Miss Marvel issue number 19 my pick of the week. So here we are, end of the video, which means it's time to find out who the company of the week is. What company of the week is, for those of you who may be new, each week, for example, I take the DC books. I had the scores together for all the DC books. I divide by the number of DC books I've read. It gives me a beautiful average score. I do the same for the Indys and Marvel, and then whoever gets the highest average score are the company of the week. This week, in third place, we have DC Comics with an average rating of 3.6. Not a good week for them. In second place, with an average rating of 4.2 with Marvel. So, top of the pops this week, the company of the week are the Indys, which this was solely Valiant, and they had an average rating of 4.6. So the company of the week are Valiant Comics, which representing the Indys. It seems to me, I should keep better track of this, but it seems a lot of the weeks I'm getting the Indys coming out on top, which is maybe telling me where the best books are coming from right now. But anywho, that is everything. I will be back on Wednesday with my haul video, and then back at some point next weekend with a review video. Thank you very much for watching my video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me those beautiful thumbs up so I know you're liking what I'm doing. Hope you've all had a great week. I will see you next week. All it leaves me to say is that I've been Jason. This has been the Dude Cave. Bye for now.